I chose to do my Build a Lecture number 5 for chapter 15. The agenda for this chapter is that on slide 3, it will begin with 15.1, the defense mechanisms of a host and overview. On slide 11, it will begin with 15.2, the first line of defense. And on slide 11, it'll begin with 15.3, the second line of defense. I know there is a third line of defense, but it is not included in this chapter. It is included in chapter 16. 15.1, defense mechanisms of the host and overview. The immune system has multiple defense levels that work together to protect the body. Its main functions include surveillance, recognition, and destruction. Surveillance is monitoring the body for threats. Recognition is identifying foreign material, and destruction is eliminating harmful invaders. White blood cells distinguish between self and non-self. Proper self-recognition is crucial to prevent the immune system from attacking the body. Autoimmune diseases occur when the immune system mistakenly attacks its own tissues. Tissue, organs, and cells participating in immunity. The lymphatic system transports lymph fluid through vessels and nodes, returning it to the circulatory system. It helps drain inflammation, return extracellular fluid, and support immune defense with lymphocytes, phagocytes, and antibodies. Lymphatic fluid carries blood cells, fats, and debris, forming when blood components exit vessels into lymphatic capillaries. Lymphatic vessels resemble veins, transport lymph, and are found throughout the body, except in certain organs with high concentrations in our hands, feet, and around the areola. Primary lymphatic organs produce and mature immune cells, while secondary lymphatic organs activate them. Red bone marrow in long bones produces blood cells, including B and T lymphocyte precursors. B cells mature in the bone marrow before moving to the spleen or lymph nodes to function, and T lymphocytes migrate to the thymus to complete their maturation as T cells. Secondary lymphatic organs include lymph nodes, spleen, and various lymphoid tissues. The blood. Blood consists of cells and plasma. Plasma is a clear yellowish fluid. When spun in a centrifuge, blood cells settle at the bottom and plasma remains on top. Serum is plasma without clotting factors, and it is used in immune testing and therapy. Hematopoiesis is the process of blood cell formation and pluripotent stem cells in the bone marrow. And blood cells develop into two main lineages, myeloid and lymphoid. Myeloid are precursors for red blood cells and platelets, and lymphoid are precursors for white blood cells and lymphocytes. The mononuclear phagocyte system and cytokines. The MPS is a connective tissue network that supports immune function. It is found in the thymus, lymph nodes, tonsils, spleen, gut, and respiratory tract. Monocytes in the MPS develop into macrophages and dendritic cells for immunity. Macrophages and dendritic cells permanently reside in tissues to defend against invaders. Cytokines are chemicals and proteins that help immune cells communicate. They regulate cell development, inflammation, and immunity. They are produced by various cells, including monocytes, macrophages, lymphocytes, fibroblasts, and platelets. And there are many types of cytokines that are classified into broad functional categories. 5.2, the first line of defense. physical or anatomical barriers at the body's surface. Skin and mucous membranes protect against microbes. The outer skin layer, which is the stratum corneum, is waterproof and tough due to keratin. Shedding skin, hair follicles, and sweat glands help to remove microbes. Mucous membranes block bacteria and contain bacteriophages for defense. Fluids like tears, saliva, and mucus flush out microbes. Part 2 to the slide before, physical or anatomical barriers at the body's surface. Nasal hair, cilia, sneezing, and coughing remove particles and irritants. Urine and vaginal secretions help cleanse and protect the genitourinary system. Barriers prevent infection, but some pathogens can bypass them, triggering immune responses. The human microbiome acts as a protective barrier by blocking pathogens and altering pH. Innate chemical defenses. Skin, mucous membranes, and secretions provide antimicrobial protection. Enzymes like lysozyme and acidic environments help destroy microbes. Stomach acid, bile, and reproductive secretions inhibit pathogen growth. 15.3, the second line of defense. Mechanisms that play important roles in host defense include phagocytosis, inflammation, fever, and antimicrobial products from the host. Phagocytosis, the cornerstone of inflammation and adaptive immunity. Phagocytes are immune cells that detect, ingest, and eliminate harmful materials. Their main types are neutrophils, monocytes, and macrophages. They specialize in surveying tissues, destroying threats, and recognizing foreign markers. Neutrophils respond early to infections, especially bacteria, and they are a major part of pus. Eosinophils target parasites and antigen antibody reactions, but have a minor phagocytic role. Part 2 to the slide before, phagocytosis, cornerstone of inflammation and adaptive immunity. Monocytes and macrophages are the most powerful phagocytes. Phagocytosis occurs in steps. Step 1, chemotaxis. Step 2, ingestion. Step 3, phagolysosome formation. And step 4, destruction. And lastly, step 5, excretion. Bacteria are destroyed within 30 minutes using two systems. The first one is the oxygen-dependent system, and the other one are chemicals like lactic acid, lysozyme, and nitric acid. Inflammation, a complex concert of reactions to injury. Inflammation is the body's response to tissue injury. Common signs of inflammation include rubor, which is redness, calor, which is warmth, tumor, which is swelling, dolor, which is pain, and loss of function. Inflammation protects the body by preventing further injury. There are stages of inflammation. It can be either acute or chronic, short-term or long-term. It triggers a chain reaction that brings beneficial cells and fluids to the damaged area. Vasodilation increases blood flow, immune response, redness, and warmth. Edema occurs as fluid leaks into tissues, causing swelling. Exudate types can be clear or contain blood cells or pus. Neutrophil response arrives within an hour and it's guided by signals. Diapedesis is when white blood cells exit blood vessels, move into tissues, and interact with endothelial cells. During chemotaxis and phagocytosis, white blood cells migrate to infection sites and they engulf microbes. And there are benefits of edema. Some of them include fluid, which dilutes the toxins and neutrophils, which clear bacteria and debris. Fever, an adjunct to inflammation. A fever is a systemic response to infection, allergies, and illness. It is caused by pyrogens resetting the hypothalamus, which increases the body's temperature. A fever ranges from low to high, 100 degrees Fahrenheit to 106 degrees Fahrenheit. A fever slows the growth of various pathogens, including viruses, fungi, and bacteria. Antimicrobial products. The body produces four main antimicrobial products: interferons, the complement system, antimicrobial peptides, and restriction factors. Interferons help fight infections, regulate immunity, and act as cytokines. There are three types: alpha, beta, and gamma. Interferons suppress cancer cells and stimulate immune cells like macrophages and T or B cells. The complement system helps destroy bacteria and viruses using 50 blood proteins. Antimicrobial peptides are small proteins that kill microbes by inserting into their membranes. They are part of the innate immune system and they influence immunity. Researchers are exploring them as therapeutic drugs to combat antibiotic resistance. Restriction factors are molecules that limit virus replication inside the host cells, and they can bind to viruses, block virus synthesis, prevent virus assembly, or stop virus release. That concludes my presentation. I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions or remarks, please feel free to reach me by phone number or by email. Thank you.